Good afternoon all. My name is Nanette Philip and I'm a senior student at the McCoy School of Engineering, and today I'll be presenting on my topic, transient structural analysis of the crank slider mechanism. The presentation will take the format of a brief introduction, the objective of why we carry out this research. We're going to do the methodology of the crank slider mechanism. We'll illustrate our results, and finally we will conclude. The crank slider mechanism, as you could see right here, it takes rotational motion and converts it into translational motion and vice versa. It's very useful in engine combustion, piston and cam internal combustion engines. Also we use them, they have other applications such as where you want to move large objects versus you have a small area but you want to move a large object. This will also be a good mechanism which you could use. Why do we want to create this? First of all, we know that the crank slider mechanism is known to most persons. It's not something that's new. It has been there for quite some time. It has many uses, but there is always a way to make something much better. And therefore we have attached a few sensors on a model that we're going to take measurements from. So we have an actual model built. Then we're going to go ahead and do a transient structural analysis. What is transient structural analysis? We want to know how it behaves, how it deforms, how it reacts to stress and strain. So that's what we do when we evaluate its transient structural analysis, and finally we're going to correlate the two. Okay? So we have the mechanism here. We know it's we're using rotational motion and we're going into translational motion. So here we can do the position here of x. As you could see, here would be the displacement. We're going through a whole list of formulas where we do the first derivative will give us our velocity, and the second derivative will give us our acceleration. We also did a few other programs in there. Since we have one model that was built, we have an actual model, and there's one that we placed in a computer-aided engineering package. So here we're using LabVIEW. Okay, from our actual model, we need to gain the data. So we have this program built in LabVIEW, and that is thanks to Group 6 of the Senior Design Group. They built this program. The only difference is that we needed to obtain the data, and that's what we have right here. We needed to save the data, so we have it right here, and also we needed to check the transient structural analysis, and that's in the strain which we added to it right here. So this is just a program that we use to obtain our data from the actual model. Here, so here we have our actual model, which we have sensors placed on there. We have one sensor here. We have another sensor right here. This is our DC motor, which is right here. That's our DC motor control, so it gives us the leverage of saying how many RPMs we want it to go at. This right here is our power supply for our DC motor, and here we have our data acquisition system. So it will take all our data in terms of velocity, acceleration, displacement, and also our strain. This here is the model that we placed in ANSYS. So you can see that it's very similar to what is right here. And all of this was done by the Senior Design Group, Group 6. Okay. So here I took the design from the CAE model. We placed it in ANSYS. That's another program that we heard of earlier on. And we need to ensure that our model was on par. So what we placed in the ANSYS program needed to be similar to the actual model. So here we have the actual model and we have our CAE model. So the CAE model was placed in ANSYS. The actual model, we just obtained data from here. So we need to ensure that the two correlate to each other. And we did this in three forms, which is, the first one is displacement. So we have here the model, which is the actual model, is represented with the blue. And ANSYS model is the red hash lines, and we could see that displacement correlates very well to each other. Then we have velocity. The same goes on there. We notice that the two, they correlate very well. And finally we did velocity, and we notice here we have we couldn't get this part very well, but overall we're on par with everything. So we know that our model works well, so we could go ahead and look at the strain, how it behaves to stress and deformation. And here we did, so first of all we did our analysis in ANSYS to know exactly where to place our strain gauge. So we notice here in this, at this point here, that's where we experience our greatest strain in the ANSYS model. So we went ahead and placed it at this point in the actual model, which is right here. So we have a 45 strain rosette, which is placed right here. That's what it looks like. This is just a magnified picture of it. Yeah. So we placed it on right here and we obtained results from it. And this is what we'll get here. So that's the actual results that we got from the model. But what can we do with that? There's nothing we can do with that. We need to go ahead and to bring it down into a format that we could understand. And so here we went back to our classes and we got some equations since we're using a 45-degree strain. We know that the first one will represent our x, y, and so on. This is just some stuff that we do in class here. So we use these formulas to help bring down our stuff. Yeah. So we have here, this is from the actual, this one is from the actual model, and this one is from the ANSYS model, looking at the max and mean. We notice here that the two don't correlate that well, and this could be due to various reasons, that we have the presence of resistance and friction that is from the actual model that we don't experience in the ANSYS model. We also have just other stuff that the program behind the ANSYS, all the math and stuff behind the ANSYS model, we have not really perfected that in our actual model. And this could be the result of this going on right here. But we wanted to get at least as close to the closing results. And as you could see here, we just have a difference of -3 on either solutions. Here is 10 to the -4, whereas in the ANSYS model it's 10 to the -7. Here for the minimum it's 10 to the -7, whereas in ANSYS it's 10 to the -10. So at least we know that we're getting very close, so we still need to work on this aspect to try and get our stuff closer. Get the hidden program in ANSYS that gives us such a smooth curve and try and get it into our actual model. So we still need to work on our actual model to get it to relate to what's here in our ANSYS model. So we're not done with this as yet. But you could also get the stress coming out using Hooke's law. You could get change strain into stress, and that's using these formulas right here. And we could see from our ANSYS model where we would have the areas of greater stress, as you could see here and right here. And these two are also plotted, and similar to the stress graphs, we could not correlate them also well, but at least we have our numbers very close, unlike the strain graphs. And from this we concluded here. So it's not the end of the research, it's just that we have to give our presentation right now. We investigated the data, the dynamics of the crank-slider, so we know for sure when it comes to acceleration, velocity, and displacement that we're on par. We're good here. We measured the strain, but we have not correlated it to the T as yet, and that's where we need to conclude on. We need to conclude on this aspect, so it's an ongoing we're really doing research ongoing. And just like to take this time out to thank Dr. Magali, my mentor, Dr. Go, McCoy School of Engineering, Group 6 Senior Design Team, UGROW mentors and fellow students, just for everyone here this afternoon. If you were not here, I would not have somebody to present to, so thank you.